Today we are going to be building end caps for our garden beds. That's up next.
Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here in March of 2022. If you guys have been following us along, you know that we've been establishing a functioning farm here in the Arizona desert, and today we're going to be specifically building garden bed end caps that would actually work anywhere. So even if you're in the city and you're going to have some type of garden bed, what we're showing you today is definitely going to work. Now, not going to be a whole lot of shocking things here in the beginning. We're going to be using your retaining wall bricks that you would commonly find in any big box store. In fact, we got these from Lowe's here locally, so very easy to find these. And as far as how these are installed, it's pretty straightforward. So what I really want to do more than anything is talk a little bit about the reason why we use brick. The biggest challenge we have here in the Arizona desert is weather, and we have two distinct growing seasons when it comes to annual crops. Now, what we're going to be putting in these end caps are predominantly perennials, but when it comes to annual crops, you can see from all the infrastructure here, we have to protect from ground squirrels coming up from the bottom of the bed. We have birds that'll come in and devour everything here, quail included, that'll literally take even our new starts and eat those down to nubs. We have rabbits, and not only bunnies, but also jackrabbits that we need to keep out of these beds. So block allows us to set up infrastructure that keeps these out, and block holds up really, really well to our desert heat and cold. Durability would really be the primary function of brick. We don't need to come back and try to replace these every few years. It doesn't matter what kind of wood you have here in Arizona, you're gonna get dry rot no matter what you do. And while it is hot, so it will retain some heat, that's a benefit in the wintertime, and during the middle of summer, we're generally not growing much in these beds. You can see from the growth of our lettuce that's growing here, in fact, going to seed at the end of winter. You can see it's doing just fine right up here next to the blocks all the way through winter. And of course, it's been protected from basically everything that would eat this before we do. We do have crops that do really well in these beds all the way through summer. Predominantly cowpeas and also sweet potatoes have no problems whatsoever dealing with the heat that these blocks can retain during the summertime. So the durability and the fact that these help us keep all of our intruders out of our beds is the main reasons why we use brick. And then of course, we're a bit lazy. I don't want to be coming back to replace these, and we're so busy here on the farm. These are basically permanent infrastructure that we just don't have to deal with again. You can see we went with a darker red color. I think it's going to look really good and contrast well with the gray and the brown that we have everywhere on the farm. And they're just your common retaining wall bricks. So we have about 2.5 pallets here, which should get us through our 8 end caps. One thing you're not going to see a lot of here is leveling of the ground. The ground's fairly level, so I don't think we're going to have any issues there. And we tested these out, and I think we're going to be fine. Give you an idea of what this is going to look like and how these bricks are set. So they have a ledge on the back side of the brick. So you knock that ledge off on the bottom row, that way it's nice and flat. And then that lip or that ledge, when you stack them in, it basically keeps these bricks from pushing out. So the pressure of the soil on the inside of here can't move these bricks out. And then of course, the soil being in here keeps the bricks from falling back in. So with these, because we don't have a lot of traffic, we don't even need to glue these. The weight alone will keep these in place without a problem. So next issue that we have is we have this gap. These bricks are offset, that way they lock in the way you see them here, but we wind up with a gap here that's smaller than a full brick. So what we need to do now is we do need to cut these bricks. I have a diamond blade that's designed for cutting concrete on my chop saw. So what we're gonna be doing is taking measurements on each one of these distances and then cutting bricks so that they fit in here nice and snug to close this gap. You can see how simple that was, relatively speaking, to get these cut and fit. For the most part, when you cut one side, the larger portion of that side basically fits onto the opposite side, for the most part, but close enough for us. Now, one thing I will do here is once we get all of our bricks laid, we will come back with some liquid nails, which works on cement, and we will go ahead and glue these last two small pieces into place just to make sure that we're not gonna get any movement on the smaller pieces right up here next to our irrigation box in particular. We're here the next day and you can see we've had the glue set. These final bricks are in there nice and snug, so they're not gonna move. We wanna show you guys really quickly what we're doing in order to fill these end cap beds. This is something that we're gonna be doing because we need to get these planted here over the next couple of weeks. Typically, we would plant some type of cover crop, say daikon or something like that, into the bed in advance, start building the soil that way, but we don't have time for that. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the soil we're using. This is the soil that we've been using to fill all of our garden beds. It's about a third mixture of compost, sand, and our native soil. So it's the pliability that we want, sort of the structure, the base structure of our soil, but not much in the way of life. So this will be our base. We're gonna mix this, probably about 60 to 70% of this with about 20 to 30% of something else. And this is what's gonna give us some of our fertility. This you can find at any of the big box stores. Home Depot is where we usually go. So we get these guys here. I wanna say it's just under $10 for about 3 cubic feet. So we figure that's gonna be enough to mix in with this soil here and get these end caps filled up and ready to plant. Maybe. Let's see. Definitely want it up to the last brick. Pretty much dead center, right? Yeah. Growing in our compost. You can see we have a rosemary planted here. These do fantastic for us. It's a perennial, which is the reason for these beds, all perennial plants, and it's a fantastic herb that does great. So you can see very easy to put these together, a little bit of soil, and they look really good, especially with the contrast on the gray, and it's super simple to set up. What's best about these is we pretty much won't have to touch these probably ever again in our lifetime. So kind of a one and done, or set it and forget it. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on the channel as we establish this new functioning farm here in the desert, and would love to have you as a subscriber. Any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That is a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with that link, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.